Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NBC6 Voices on our Facebook and YouTube pages. I'm Jawan Strader. Well, tonight we're highlighting Black Business Month. Black businesses have been around for hundreds of years, and we're celebrating all month long African Americans that have played a key role in shaping the nation's business landscape. So many of the first Black businesses were created in a response of racial discrimination. Segregation forced Black people to create products and offer services that could not get anywhere else. So today, the number of Black-owned businesses has risen, and much of it having to do with the pandemic forcing people to find a way. So today I have with me Lakeycia Cooper, the owner of Lollipops and Gumdrops Children's Spa located in Opelika. Also here is Evan St.Fort. Evans is a funeral home owner and director of St.Fort's Funeral and Cremation. He owns and operates several locations, including North Miami. I want to welcome both of you to the show. Lakeycia and Evans, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
You got it. You got it. Well, let's go ahead and start off with a basic and simple question. Lakeycia, let's start off with you. I want to ask you, what made you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Well, actually, being an entrepreneur has been always in my history, and I have been the one for quite a number of years now. But just this recent past year, I opened up a children's spa in Overtown, and I was so excited because this has been a passion of mine. And my husband thought I was crazy when I wanted to do it at this time. So while the world is standing still, I wanted to open a children's spa. So also just to teach little girls about self-care and being comfortable with the skin that they're in and all these girly things and teaching them how to be little girls. That has been always been a passion of mine. So I just took a leap of faith and just did it.
And it's something that's different, something we don't see every day is a children's spa. I believe you're one of very few, if not the only, in South Florida.
I am. I am. I'm actually the only African American luxury children's spa in the city of Miami.
Wow. Wow. Well, I look forward to talking to you a little bit more about this and the concept and how you came up with that concept. Okay, Evans, I want to talk to you, brother. I mean, of course, I've known you for a number of years, but I want to ask you, what made you decide to become an entrepreneur? And is this something that you grew up saying that, hey, I'm going to be a funeral home director one day, you know? So you got to tell me what made you decide to get into this industry and this business?
I grew up in Miami most of my life. My parents are from Haiti. My dad was born there. And I was an athlete throughout school, to be honest with you. It was a passion of mine. I played just about every sport. But my father was a serial entrepreneur as I was growing up. And after his father passed away, someone approached him about getting into the funeral industry. This is in Haiti. And so he took it upon himself to go ahead and take that advice. And he actually thought it was maybe his father speaking to him. So he opened up his first funeral home in Haiti in his hometown. And that funeral home did exceptionally well. And from there, he decided to open up two other funeral homes in Haiti. So one's in Lilgan. We have another funeral home in Port-au-Prince. And we have another funeral home in Haiti called in Gongwa, Haiti. And so as my father had opened up those facilities, I was in high school and I said, I want to grow the landscape. I want to grow what my father had started. And so attended mortuary school after I graduated high school and started I started an internship, and then from there found a funeral home that was vacant at the time at the age of 21. And so partnered up with my dad, and we grew this business. It wasn't easy in the beginning, I'll tell you that. I don't ever want anyone thinking that opening up a business is gonna, do great in the beginning, because we were in the red for a really long time. And I know what it feels like to work 7 days a week for 3 years straight, making sure, you could pay your bills. So it wasn't easy in the beginning, And it was a learning curve because although we had the funeral homes overseas, it's two different landscapes. So it was a learning curve for me, especially being so young, running a business by myself. But I learned it, and I've been in the business now for 16 years, and love what I do. And now we're expanding to Fort Pierce, Florida. So we're looking forward to that, and just keep the business going.
Amen to that, and congrats to you on your success. So, Lakeycia, I want to get back over to you because I want to ask you, how is that you decided to go ahead and start a children's spa, especially when it comes to the Black community, because that's something we just do not see enough of across the country.
Well, I decided to do that because I have also two daughters, and I raised my daughters up to be very girly. And pink, everything is pink, and they love to be pretty and prissy. And so I would go to other communities and patronize different locations to service my children, to give them a spa experience and to make them feel all princessy. And we love Disney and everything else, so I wanted to create something like that in our neighborhood that our children don't see every day. So meaning that when they walk into our spa, they would think that they're at Disney or something. And so when they walk in, they will be robed in their luxury robes, and then our girls, our team, will then mask them and put them on their facial mask, and we'll do whatever it is that they want to do, and we just have a good time. And most of the time before they leave, they're crying to mommy and daddy because they don't want to leave. And I'm just so happy to be able to, offer this kind of service in the city of Overtown. Because again, it's so underserved, and I wanted to bring something different to the community, and therefore I just took a leap of faith and saw the space that we're in vacant and just did it. It hasn't been easy. I'm in the red also. We're in our beginning stages, but I'm still confident that it will succeed, and that it is something that's needed to teach our little girls how to be little girls.
And what's the biggest, Lakeisha, what's the biggest advice that you have for others out there, other entrepreneurs that, or those that are thinking about starting their own business?
Well, first off, we I consult a lot with various people who have started out and they're really successful, and some started and they didn't make it. They gave up. So I wanted to see the pros and the cons of being able to get out and be an entrepreneur, because I too still I work for the school board of Broward County, and I wanted to be my own boss. And so to do this, I needed to have a little faith. And I believe in a vision. If you have a vision, you write it down and you continue to pursue it, and not get distracted, and there may be some bumps along the way, but you will continue to push forward, and it will come to pass if that's what if it's your time, and if that's so what you desire, then it will come to pass.
And I want to go over to Evans. I want to ask you pretty much the same question as far as advice is concerned, Evans, because you talked about working 7 days. You talked about the trying times. And luckily now you're able to continue to expand. What's the biggest advice you have out there for others wanting to start their own business?
I'd say, of course, before you get into anything, you want to educate yourself first. For me, the one of the things that was key was when I got into the funeral industry, I pretty much handled every single part of this business. So what I mean by that is, I know what it feels like to go and pick up someone that's passed away from their home. I know what it feels like to work in the morgue. I know what it feels like to answer the phones. I know what it feels like to handle the administrative parts of our business. So I'm well versed in this industry. And I would say with any business that you're considering going into, just don't get in it because it looks good. Understand the business, understands the concepts, and also understand what it's like to, mop the floors if that's the role that you're going to have to play. So for anyone that's interested in opening up any business, is education. Of course, Don't think about it too much, because one thing that a lot of individuals make mistakes with is they'll say they'll do something and then sit on it for a really long time and nothing ever comes to fruition. So not only do you want to educate yourself, but you definitely want an action plan, and you definitely want some sort of mentorship. So someone that's either in the industry that's willing to consult you, or someone that you know that's done it, that's good at doing it, so that you don't fall into similar pitfalls, because that'll save you a lot of time and a lot of money.
I want to go back to
I
you,
want to go back to you,
and I want to talk
and
about
I
the
want.
pandemic, and I want to go to some stats here, and this is from the National Bureau of Economic Research, and they found that 41% of Black-owned businesses have been shuttered by COVID-19, compared to just 17% of white-owned businesses. And I want to ask you about that stat. Does it shock you? And what are some of the challenges that you face as a Black business owner during the pandemic?
Are we starting with me? Okay. As far as the COVID, the pandemic, and how it's affected our business, I mean, you're watching the news every single day now, and unfortunately, most of the conversations are back on COVID, and we're talking about how the numbers are rising. And so it's true. Unfortunately, in terms of what I see on a daily basis, the COVID numbers are obviously raising. In terms of how we've handled it, it's a scary situation for us, because you hear people are always talking about physicians, of course, our officers, our nurses, anyone that's in the front lines that is handling COVID on a daily basis. You hear about them, but I want to say no one's really shedding light on the funeral industry, because we're dealing with it just as much or as bad as they are. I mean, I unfortunately at one point had contracted COVID when we were at its peak last year, because I was seeing families just about every single day. And a lot of the people that I was seeing at the time, unfortunately, were coming to me because they had family members that passed away from COVID. And, what do you do in situations like that? So, yes, we've gone virtual. And yes, we live stream funeral services now. And yes, we try not to sit with every single individual, but death is not anything that anyone is used to. So when someone passes, they need as much advice moving through the process. So if I have to, sit with the client, and if that's what it's going to take for us to help them out, I'm going to do that. So unfortunately, yes, COVID is spiking, and I'm going to tell everyone out there, yes, what you see is true. Please make sure to take precautions out there, because I am seeing it every single day here in our office.
With us, COVID. Hello, Do- can
I
you?
got you. I got you. I apologize. I was muted just now, but I
Okay.
wanted to ask you the same question, pretty much that Evans just answered. What are some of the challenges that you face as a Black business owner during the pandemic?
Well, the dynamics of our business definitely ceased during COVID. Because we had to do different, dynamics to welcome people in. We had to protect ourselves. We had to protect our team. It was just a different time. Um, funds, we had to simply pay bills ourselves and different things like that. And we just it was like a standstill, but we still persevered and continued to push, and we continued to invite, and we had to change the dynamics of people entering our spa and different things like that. And it was only two people that can come in at once, and everybody had to be masked and different things like that. So we just tried to make things seem normal, especially for the children, because they were a little stressed. They had to be in the house, so they couldn't go places and different things like that. So when we were able to come back out, We opened up the spa, we had to open it up at a minimum level in order to provide service, and also to protect ourselves, and also protect the children. So we wanted to make sure that everyone was protected, masked, and as well as sanitized when they enter the spa. So we it was just a different it's just different it's just a different time at this point, but we're still persevering, and trying to continue to follow CDC guidelines, and protecting ourselves, and making sure everyone stays healthy.
And Lakeycia, how did you manage the cost involved when it came to the pandemic and operating as a business owner? Because you talked about and you kept it real. You said, "Hey, I'm in the red. We're in the red, but we're making it. We're making it, and we're not giving up."
Yeah, we pretty much went in and paid. I mean, my husband, again, he's the muscle behind the brain. So we had to pay the bills. I refused to. We had already invested too much into it to stop. So we just paid the bills, and I still work 9 to 5, and I run my spa 6 days a week. So with a short, we're family owned and operated. So we had to do what we had to do in order to persevere and push through. And so we covered those costs. I mean, we savings account, that's what I used. I didn't have a choice because I had invested too much into it to lose.
Amen. Amen. And I would like to bring someone else into this conversation, and we're going to continue it now. So I would like to bring Eric Knowles. Eric is the president and the CEO of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. Eric, welcome to the show. How you doing,
Great,
brother?
great to be here with you.
Always good to have you, my brother. And you also helped a lot of business owners out there with opportunities for economic and social transformation in our community as well. Can you explain how you and the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce make all that possible?
Well, Jawan, we have engaged with our membership, and we talk about COVID. Basically, when the pandemic started, we were doing what we're doing right now. We were on Zoom each and every day. When I say literally every day of the week, Monday through Friday, providing information on how to access the capital and the funds that was out there, the EIDL, the PPP, the Florida Emergency Fund. And we were just providing information. A lot of businesses didn't know where to go. A lot of businesses went to their banks, and their banks weren't helping them because they didn't have banking relationships. They had a checking account. They may have had a savings account, but they did not have a banking relationship. They didn't have, say, a credit card. They didn't have a loan with the bank. So those companies that had those type of relationships were first in line. And then your corporate entities that have, as I say, the back of their house together. They have an accountant, they have CPAs, they have legal services with them. They already had the information, they had the paperwork together, and so when the bell rang, all they had to do was push the button, and we weren't ready for that. A lot of businesses were, but they didn't know where to go. So that's what we did. And even today, we still meet every Tuesday. We have a Zoom at 4 o'clock, inviting our members and others into our Zoom to share information so that they can access. We do technical assistance. We have technical assistance workshops. We have workshops how to get certified with Miami-Dade County, how to get certified with Dade County Public Schools, how to do business with Jackson Hospital, get certified with Jackson, how to do business with the University of Miami. We just met with the University of Miami about a month ago. University of Miami has made a pledge that they are going to increase doing business with minorities by double doing business with minority companies by 2025. But the other thing that they said, they're going to triple their spend with Black companies by 2023. So it's about relationships. And a lot of people don't understand what a chamber does. And I'm always talking about connecting the dots. That's what we do. We provide information to get you where you need to go, like I said, with certification. But one thing I want to say that Evan said earlier is, and a lot of people don't understand this. Like he said, he knows everything about his business. He had to go pick up bodies. He had to work in the mortuary. He had to. The one thing that he said was mop floors.
Mop floors. I heard that. I heard that too.
Mop
I
floors.
heard that
And,
too.
and and what happens with a lot of our young people today, we're living this microwave age. They want to be the manager. They want to run things. But how can you run something if you don't know how to do it yourself? And it begins again with mopping the floor. And the other thing that Evan said is that a lot of businesses, they work hard towards getting their business started, and there's this saying, perfection is the enemy of progress. We work so hard to get it going and want it to be perfect, but like Richard Branson said, he built Virgin Airlines while he was flying it. He didn't know how he was going to do it, but he just did it. And that's what we have to do, but also have that passion and that wisdom and understanding of what it is that you want to do.
But going back to Black Business Month, Eric, what are you doing? What's the chamber doing in order to help try to bridge the gap between Black business owners and white business owners and show that there is fair treatment? Because when I'm speaking to, and I have been over the past few years, especially on the show, to Black entrepreneurs, there is apparently a systemic system set up in place against Black business owners.
Well, what you're talking about is a disparity. And when we talk about a disparity, we talk about a disparity in particular when we do a lot of business and networking and engagement with the county. And I know you're not just talking about public opportunities, but Black businesses receive less than 2% of the opportunities with Miami-Dade County. And that's a $9 billion entity. And at one point was receiving less than 2% with Miami-Dade public schools. But I would say that Superintendent Carvalho and the board, Dorothy Benderis, Mendengal, along with Steve Gallen and others, the board chairwoman, they have put policy in place to actually say that we have to support Black businesses. The county is going through they're not going through a disparity study. They're collecting data so that they can do a disparity study to tell us that there is a disparity. And, exactly. But legally, it has to be done because,
I get it.
At one time there was race-based policies in place, but that was thrown out by the courts. So now we have to go back and prove that there is a disparity. So we've been meeting with Mayor Cava to work on that. But then again, there's this other part, as you said. One thing that I've been pushing is what we call a mentor protege program for all P3 projects, public-private projects. So if you have a large contractor or a developer coming in, that they have to partner with a small company to help them grow, to help them scale. So mentor protege programs is something that I've been pushing, as well as when it comes to, as you said, purchasing and supporting Black business. If our community is to grow, if our community is to be a world-class community, we have to understand how we support one another. And it goes back to what I was saying about the University of Miami. They purchase a little bit of everything, from marketing, from legal, and we go back down to toilet paper and paper clips.
That's right.
And services, massage services, a number of different services. I'm sure even Evans, his services would be needed at the University of Miami. So we have to go to our institutions and show that they need to support Black business.
Well, let's go back to Evans and Lakeycia. So Evans, I want to ask you, do you believe that there is a disparity? Have you noticed the disparity? If so?
I mean, I would definitely say there's a disparity, unfortunately. And I want to thank, Eric for all of the hard work that he puts into connecting the dots. And what I mean by that is, he's always pushing and trying to get entrepreneurship, individuals working with each other, especially like-minded and individuals of our skin color. So yes, I mean, the other day I was chatting with my wife and I said, let's go and see, what Black-owned restaurants we can find in South Beach, and unfortunately, there's only one that I know of. So yes, there's definitely a disparity. And I also wanted to say this quickly out there because I do also am very involved with the city of North Miami Beach. They're currently trying to open up the doors in our city for anyone that is interested in entrepreneurship. The city is allowing for anyone that's interested to come in and open up whatever business that you're interested in without having to go through zoning or without having to get any permits right away. So they're giving you like a 3-month window. And if your business does work, then of course you'll have to pull the permits that you need afterwards. But North Miami Beach is open, and I'm just letting anyone that's interested know that if you're interested in opening up a business, North Miami Beach is definitely trying to get you to come into our city.
Very well said, Evans. And Lakeycia, I'm going to ask you the same question, Lakeycia. I want to ask you, as far as disparities are concerned, have you been the victim of any of this? Have you noticed it being tougher for you to get your business up and running because of those disparities that Evans and that Eric talked about?
Yes, I did find that to be true, what both of them were saying, because also being a minority woman, it was just difficult for us to inquire different things and different licensing and different things, and if no one, if you don't ask the question, no one volunteers the information. So it was just really hard for me, and also going into a place that I wasn't familiar with, just being able to maneuver my own, getting through the different things, because now I find out there's a CRA in our community and different things like that. And now they're assisting me with doing things with the business, and I'm just it's difficult, but I'm going to continue, because I just ask, I pray and I meditate and ask God for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to make my business work. I work too hard. I've been through too many things to just give up. So it's going to, I believe, with my vision and also educating myself continuously, it's going to work. So I just, it is a disparity, but I'm going to continue to push.
I love that. Continue to push. And I want to thank all of you for joining me. A wealth of information, so much knowledge. Okay, Eric, real fast, I just want to know, how can people, those future business owners out there, how can they be part of the Miami-Dade Chamber?
Absolutely. And I want to start with Lakeycia. Please reach out to us, www.m-dcc.org, or you can call the chamber at 305-751-8648.
All right. Very well said, Eric. Thank you. Evans, thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate you as always. And Lakeycia, thank you. And I see that you're busy. You got you're being driven around, or so. I see the U-Haul behind you and everything else. But I want to thank you so much for joining me on this show for this very important conversation. All the best to all of you guys. And you can rewatch this episode on our Facebook and YouTube pages, airing this Saturday as well at 9:30 a.m. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jawan NBC6, or Facebook if you have a story idea. And you can also message us on social media as well. Before we go, remember, this is what it's all about. Education is the key to success. If you believe, you will succeed. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.